Hi, everybody. John Fanta checking in from our Fox Sports Digital Studios. On today's episode of our series, we focus in on New York City. Rick Pitino is a New York native. He is embedded with this area and understands the magnitude of basketball in the concrete jungle and the power of Madison Square Garden. Here are Rick Pitino's thoughts on NYC hoops. Where do you get your level of drive from?
Well, I grew up, although I had two older brothers, I grew up an only child, so to speak. They were 8 and 10 years older than me. I don't even remember them being home in Cambria Heights, Queens. I walked to school at age 5 and 6, a mile and a half away to Sacred Heart in Cambria Heights, walked home, walked to the basketball courts at age 6 and 7, rode on the back of a bus to get some places. Things that I did back then at 6, 7, 8, and 9, you wouldn't do today in Queens, New York. So it's a lot different. I knew if I didn't get a scholarship, I was not going to college. My family was not going to be able to afford that. So I was driven to go to college to get a scholarship. I was driven, if I wasn't going to play the game, to coach the game.
New York City, basketball. You can't tell the story of one without the other. I'm not going to put you on the spot here with a Mount Rushmore to limit you to just 4 people. But when you think of the defining faces of the metropolitan area, of the concrete jungle, in hoops, who comes to mind?
Well, I would say Kareem is obviously number one. There's beyond a shadow of a doubt. Kareem was just incredible. And not to leave anybody out, Dean the Dream Meminger during his time was awesome. Certainly, Kenny Anderson and Mark Jackson were great during their time as well. Malloy had some unbelievable teams with Kevin Joyce and Bobby Carver, and then LaSalle had their great teams under Danny Buckley. There were so many great players from that school as well. But look, let's face it, Kareem set the standard. Kareem was the greatest of all time without question. It'd be who you like for second, third, whether it's Kenny the Jet or Mark or Pearl Washington, you name it, you can have your following, but Kareem set the standard.
Let's turn to Madison Square Garden. What makes it different from any other building?
Well, what makes it different is the remarks by every great, whether it's Muhammad Ali, whether it's Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James. They call it the world's greatest arena. And whether it's a concert, I was with Pitbull, as a friend of mine, Armando Perez, and I said, have you played the Garden before? He said, yes, it's the most special place to ever get on stage with. And that's the way everybody feels. Whether you're an entertainer, whether you're an athlete, whether you're watching the games, Madison Square Garden is the mecca for every concert, basketball game, circus, you name it. It's the mecca.
What's it like calling that your home?
Well, it was my home with the New York Knicks as both an assistant and head coach, and now with St. John's. Without the Garden, I don't think you'd have St. John's as anything but a nice mid-major, even though we're in the Big East. The Garden separates that. So while we're trying to catch up facility-wise, we still have Madison Square Garden, and that sets the stage for greatness.
What are some of the defining moments for you inside the Mecca? The things that pop into your mind the most, games, a moment?
Well, I remember, I believe we were going for the Celtic record of 30 straight home games. I believe that was the number, 30 straight home games as the New York Knicks coach. And certainly that was a great run. And then obviously back-to-back championships before the Big East broke up with Louisville, winning back-to-back Big East championships. There's only been 2 back-to-back MVPs. Do you know who they are?
Go ahead.
No, I'm asking you.
No, you stumped me, Coach.
Well, but you're going to know one of them.
Donovan Mitchell.
No.
Okay.
No, not necessarily from Louisville. Basketball plays in the Big East.
Patrick Ewing.
No, there it goes.
Patrick
and
Ewing.
Who's 2?
Chris Mullin.
Peyton Siva.
Peyton, that's right.
Only 2 back-to-back MVPs. You got Ewing, though, which is good. Not many people would get Peyton Siva unless you were from Louisville.
Yeah, but Peyton Siva was legendary.
Great point guard, played overseas for 13 years, terrific basketball player, and certainly every team needs that court general. We had a great backcourt, 2 6-foot guys, Peyton Siva and Russ Smith. I called him Rusticulous because he was absolutely out of his mind on the basketball court.
How much do you feel that a New Yorker like yourself is here right now for a reason to bring millions of New Yorkers' attention back to something that they can be proud of? St. John's basketball inside Madison Square Garden. And along those lines, what does the term legacy mean for you?
Well, my legacy has always been my players and coaches. I've had 31 assistant coaches move on to be head coaches. You work for one of them, Kevin Willard, who's now at Maryland. Mick Cronin's at UCLA. My son's at New Mexico. I've had 31, even a female coach, Bernadette Locke. She became a head coach. So my legacy, as I watched the Cleveland Cavaliers play or the Hornets play with Terry Rozier and Donovan Mitchell, and I watched my assistant coaches, Kevin Keats at NC State out there, coach, that's my legacy. My legacy is the people. You build a bridge for your assistant coaches and players to cross that bridge to prosperity. And if you enable them to cross with you to prosperity, then you have something special. So it's not about the wins. It's not about the Final Fours and the championships. It's about the people that cross that bridge. And if I can do it at St. John's and have a lot of people cross that bridge with me, I have something special.